Did you guys see this picture? What you're looking at is the group called Patriot Front. It is a white.
By now, we've all seen the picture of the black girl on the train surrounded by white supremacists on their way to march in our nation's capital on the 4th of July. Look at that young woman's face. Imagine what she must have been feeling surrounded by all that hate. Here's a pledge I will take, and I hope all white women who consider themselves allies will take as well. Whenever black women say this person, company, place is racist, problematic, etc., and should be avoided, there will be no rebuttal. We won't argue or tell them why we don't agree. Our black sisters have spent far too long on the receiving end of this evil, and they can sense it from a mile away. They've had to be wise as hell and tough as nails for centuries to keep them and their loved ones safe. So, if they say someone or something is not to be trusted, let's vow to believe them without question. We may not always understand the reasoning, but we can certainly trust their judgment.
I just cannot stop thinking about that photo from this weekend. The photo of a black woman sitting on a train, a metro in Washington, D.C., surrounded by members of the Patriot Front, which is a white nationalist group. And I think that picture went viral because for a lot of people, myself included, it felt like a metaphor. It to me is a physical representation of a tension that has frankly always existed in America. Who gets to belong? Who gets to be considered American? These are questions that we have been asking since the founding of this country, if we want to be honest. You know, the founders wrote that all men are created equal, while many of the same men who signed that glorious document owned people who looked like me. So, yes, I recognize that the photo is uncomfortable, that these conversations are uncomfortable, but this is a very American conversation. And, you know, history tells us something about this. White supremacist movements in America, they have always adapted to the moment. Now, no, the Patriot Front is not the KKK. But it sure seems to me that white supremacy has traded in the hoods and torches for khakis and white ski masks. The packaging has changed, but the message about who belongs and who has power, it has not changed, okay? And history teaches us something important about that these movements often show up when the racial hierarchy in this country feels like it's changing. The KKK didn't emerge before the Civil War. It emerged during Reconstruction, after the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, after black men gained voting rights and political power. So when people say, why do you have to make everything about race, Simone? My response is often, I am not the one making it about race. The racists are. Black people did not create slavery. Black people did not create Jim Crow, okay? Black people did not create segregation. And black people were not the ones marching through the United States Capitol questioning who gets to belong in America. For 250 years, America's story has been a fight over whether the promise of this country expands or it contracts. And that photo reminded a lot of people, myself included, that the fight is still happening today.
Hi family, this is Judith Ugo. Welcome to my channel. The incident has sparked concern because the image and reports are unsettling. However, it is important to focus on verified facts rather than speculation. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. Any incident involving fear and any incident involving fear, intimidation is a wrongdoing. So investigation should be carried out to find out what happened. I believe sooner or later the whole information will come to light and justice will be executed.
I'm sure by now everybody has seen the photo of the black woman riding the DC Metro sitting between the KKK members. And this is the photo right here. And one of the main reasons why it is that I'm not showing this sister's face is because the white photographer who took this photo, I asked, hey, did you asked this sister if it was okay to be able to utilize her photo in this way. No response. And then I got a lot of people that were like, well, legally, and some folks attempting to try to tell me what a photojournalist is entitled to do because they work for the news. And this is where I need to speak to allies for a moment. Black people have a personhood. We are not just person number 16. We are humans that have agency. So my question to the photographer was not about legality. It was, hey, did you recognize this person as a human being or a subject? Enough to ask her if it was okay that she was photographed, or at the very least communicate with her in some way to even be able to identify the sister by her name. All of the narratives that have been created by this photo about this Black woman being so scared. I wonder how scared she was. She a Black woman in DC riding the metro. That's just the one scared. Hell, she was probably irritated. But somewhere along the way, people continue to forget that we deserve dignity, that we deserve respect.
Every American needs to see this image today. This is the Washington, D.C. Metro. You see white nationalist Patriot Front members marching on our nation's capital on America's 250th anniversary as one person looks on. She's not masked. She's not hiding her face. She is sitting, a commuter, in a sea full of white nationalists, a sea full of people chanting to, quote, reclaim the United States of America, a sea full of people who are masked, who refuse to show their faces out of cowardice, a sea full of people who want people like her to not have rights in the United States of America. This image was taken by Reuters today. It was on the DC Metro, and it's an image that I think every American needs to see as we recognize America's 250th anniversary. We have cowards riding the metro, and we have a brave commuter sitting not masked in the face of it all. Spread the word and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and stay tuned. I will see you in my next episode.